friends. My name is Sarah. I'm an intern here at Christ Community this summer. I'm super excited to be here and to just continue in this devotional with you guys. We have been going through the beatitudes the last couple of weeks with Caleb and Bryant, and it's been really awesome. And I'm glad to just dive in here and continue this with you. This week we are doing Matthew 5:5, which says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And this one can be a hard one to really internalize and conceptualize because in the society that we live in, meekness is not something that is generally considered positive. Usually when you think about someone being meek, they are portrayed as shy and timid or even weak. But really, in this context, meekness is not weakness. It's a trait of humility and faith and trust in the Lord and His plans for us. It is someone who really doesn't make it all about themselves and desires God. And really that looks like trusting in the fact that our identity is in God so much that it doesn't matter if our own will and our own desires are ultimately fulfilled, because we know that they will be fulfilled in the long term. And that looks like serving our brothers and sisters in Christ with humility and loving one another well in that. And an example of this in the Bible is actually Moses. In Numbers 12:3, it says, "Now the man Moses was very meek, more than all the people of the earth." Which is kind of crazy to think about, but really, when you look at it, Moses goes back to Egypt to save the Israelites, not because he's super psyched about his Egyptian heritage, but because that is what God has commanded him to do. And even though he doesn't know everything that God knows in that moment, he is trusting in Him and His plans, that God's plans are better than his, and that's going to be okay, and that God's going to take care of him. And so he acts in humility and faith in that. And that is just a really strong example of obedience in that. And that is what meekness truly looks like for us. And that is what Jesus is talking about, is us loving one another and serving one another in humility, and not inserting ourselves where it's not appropriate or stepping over a line just to serve our own wants and our own agendas because we think that that will be good, but truly having faith in the Lord and His plans for us. So if that's what meekness is, and the meek shall inherit the earth, what does that inheritance of the earth look like? It's really easy to think that maybe Jesus is speaking in a metaphor, or maybe this is some high conceptual thing, because inherit the earth, well, the earth is here. What is he talking about? He does mean a physical earth, but he doesn't necessarily mean this earth. When in doing this, saying the meek shall inherit the earth, he's actually referencing a verse in Psalms, which is Psalms 37:11, and it's talking about the wicked and their way that they're losing their land. It says, "The wicked will be no more, but the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant peace." And he's not talking about an immediate land. He's talking about an ultimate outcome, the new heavens and the new earth, and the way that is hard for us to think about right now, because this is the only earth that we know. But ultimately, there will be a physical earth that we will inherit as children of the King, because of the way that He loves us and the ways that He has promised to provide for us. And we will be with God in that. So ultimately what this is saying is that people who are blessed, which we talked about what that means the last couple weeks, and being in God's favor and really being His children, are people who are meek, and because of that, we shall inherit the earth, the new heavens and the new earth, and all the glory that comes with, and being able to glorify God in that, and all of the ways it equips us to do that, and just sit at the feet of the King and worship him. So, what does that look like for our daily lives? How can we serve one another in meekness? How can we exercise that in humility and loving one another well? So, my challenge to you is this week, try and recognize other people's needs before your own. What about your siblings? Do something kind of out of the way for your sibling, just to show them that you love them and that you care for them, and that you are glad that they're there, even if you guys don't always get along. Or your friends, if you can do something out of the way for your friends, then I challenge you to do that, to love one another well, and to seek the virtue that Jesus is talking about in recognizing that it's not all about us, and it's not all about what I want and what I need, but it's about what is good for the kingdom and how I can love God and have confidence in my identity in him and my faith in him. So yeah, that is about all we've got. This was a pretty short one. Hey, we love you guys, and we are thankful for you, and we're super excited to be here and to just continue doing these devotionals with you guys. If you guys have questions for us about any of the last weeks that we've done, or this week's, or if you have things that you have been reading about and have questions about, ask them. We want to talk to you about that. We want to answer your questions, and we just want to be able to walk with you in that. So yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.